Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So today we are going to solve a very decent question, algebra question. It's a multiple choice question actually, and it is asking to find the minimum amount of fx. So the fx of our fx is x minus root 3 of x to the power of 3 minus 3 times x to the power of 2. We need to find the minimum amount of fx. So it's a little bit of a tricky question and it's really interesting to solve. So we should first just take a look at the question and see what it is saying. So it has an x in here and it has root 3 of x to the power of 3 minus 3 times x to the power of 2. We have x to the power of 3 minus 3 times x to the power of 2. And we have the x in the other side of the question. We can write down the x as root 3 of x to the power of 3, right? And we have root 3 of x to the power of 3 minus 3x over 2, the other part of the question. So I am gonna say that x to the power of 3 is actually greater or equal to x to the power of 3 minus 3 times x to the power of 2. How can I say that? Well, these two parts are the same, but let's take a closer look to 3 times x to the power of 2. Any value to the power of 2 would be equal or greater than 0. Isn't it right? So negative 1 to the power of 2 is negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Or 0 to the power of 2 is 0 times 0, which is 0 again. Positive values would be greater than 0 as well, right? So I would say that 3 times x to the power of 2 is a positive value. So it means that x to the power of 3 minus a positive value or 0, it can be 0 or positive, right? X to the power of 3 minus 3 times x to the power of 2. I would say this amount is less than x to the power of 3 or equal to it at most. Why equal? Because of the 0. If it is 0, it would be x to the power of 3 minus 0, which would be x to the power of 3. So x to the power of 3 is equal to x to the power of 3. But when you have x to the power of 3 minus a positive value, then for sure it would be less than x to the power of 3, right? So we are sure that this is our question. We are 100% sure that this part is less than this part. So this is greater than this. So it means that root 3x to the power of 3 minus root 3x to the power of 3 minus 3x to the power of 2 is greater or equal than 0, right? So what we are certain about is that the minimum value of this function of our problem cannot be less than 0. The answer is greater than 0, right? So let's go back and take a look at our multiple choices. So it is greater than 0 for sure. So it cannot be 2 or 4. It is not 2 and it is not 4. It can be either of these two. But let's take a just look at the question once again. Fx equals x minus this guy. You can simply just put x equal to 0 and see what happens. It would be f of 0. Let's see what happens. So the fx was x minus root 3x to the power of 3 minus 3x to the power of 2. We want to find f at 0. So x is 0 minus root 3 of x, or 0 to the power of 3 minus 3 times x, or 0 to the power of 2. So it would be 0 minus root 3 of 0 to the power of 0 is 0, minus 3 times 0 to the power of 2 is 0. So all zeros. It would be equal to 0. So if the x is equal to 0, the fx would be 0. So let's get back to our multiple choices. 0 is less than 1 over 3. And we know that we are certain about this thing in here as well. So for sure, the 0 that we found is the minimum amount, because we cannot go for less values than 0. So the answer in here would be 0 for sure. Thank you for watching this video.